confirm that he has pinned the timer and he's unmuted. Emmanuel Emeh, when life throws you lemons. When life throws you lemons, Emmanuel Emeh.
Make lemonades.
When life throws you lemons. What if I told you that I love lemons? In fact, I eat them every day, every single day. And I'm also curious, who in the audience loves lemon the way I do? Put your hands up. No hands. Now I see you get the points. Contest chair, fellow contestants, and Toastmasters and guests. When life throws you a lemon, this saying has been used for decades, maybe centuries, to encourage those of us that life had dealt a bad hand. That is to say, for those of us who have received less than what the average person gets in life. So what are these proverbial lemons, you will ask me? I'll answer that question not just by telling you, but by showing you my basket full of lemons. Now, this is my story. There are three observations that I have come to understand about these proverbial lemons. One, I never asked for these lemons. Two, I didn't get the privilege to even bargain with life who gave them to me. And I was not even sure how to duck. I was not taught to duck as life began throwing all these lemons at me. How unfair life is. You want to hear about my lemons? My lemon story began way back before I was conceived. You see, I was born or conceived barely 1 year after that dreaded Nigeria Biafra civil war. That was my first lemon. My dad has served as a conscripted soldier in that side that lost the war. That was my second lemon. You see, I was not just born by a loser. I was born a loser and also had the unfortunate luck of being raised on enemy grounds. Now, I bet most of you listening to me right now have zero idea about what it must have meant in those days for someone from the Eastern extraction who lived in a place like Lagos just after the Civil War. The efforts we made, and people did make a lot of efforts. No matter the effort that we made, there was always that language litmus test to pronounce words like Obalende or words like Awolowo. Now, not many Easterners can pronounce those words the way I can. Yes, we're told that there were no victors and no vanquished, but when you have to live in advert poverty, then you will take very little imagination for you to realize who the vanquished were. Our living condition was horrible. We lived in a tiny one-bedroom apartment. The only seat in the room was a plank, on top of two bricks that my mother salvaged, from a construction site just down the road. My life was filled with lemons everywhere. What about school? My first attempt to enroll in a public primary school down the road was met with another lemon. I was turned down, you see, because in those days, your arm had to go all the way around your head, touch your ear. That was how eligibility into schools were actually confirmed, not by birth certificates. So I grew up intimidated by my environment. I was bullied every single day in school. Names, I was called names that degraded my ethnicity and my person. I couldn't hide, you see. I had tribal marks on my face. I had a visible bow legs. Who asked for that? Who asked for those lemons? That was when I developed an embarrassing speech impediment sponsored by dyslexia. I'll tell you about that one in a short while. All through those days and years, I held on to my lemon because they were all that I knew and all that I had. I failed in almost every examination in school, but somehow I managed to gain admission into a newly established secondary school. You might be wondering, how did that happen? Well, you see, it was a new secondary school. They needed the student population, and I was available. I had no choice. I could not even turn them down. So you want to know how lemony my secondary school was? Let me tell you about my secondary school. To start with, the classroom had no doors, no windows, no ceiling. Don't even think about fans. It was like a chicken house. The one cemented floor that was there had turned into dust, and our feet were covered with dust every single day. But it was at that very period, this same period, that I began questioning my lemons and that hypothetical lemon giver called life. I began to question, and I asked questions. Let me ask you, audience, today, if you were told, or if you heard that beautiful word, when life gives you lemon, what do? The answer is you make lemonade. That's what people say. But today I tell you, no, I don't make lemonade with just lemons. Who has ever had anybody making lemonade with just lemon? Listen, if life throws you lemon, don't just stop there. Ask life for water. You need water for lemon. Ask life for ice. You need ice. Ask life for sugar. Ask life for a jug. That's what it takes to make lemonade. And don't give in to life. That was what I did. And my biggest lemon is called dyslexia. I didn't even know how to spell the word to start with. It affected my speech pattern, my handwriting, the way I spoke, every single thing about my life. But I looked at life in the face and said, listen, life, I have control over me. And I began changing. And I said, enough is enough. I learned to say no because I realized that my life is a product not of my environment or my lemons, but a product of my choices and what I do. So I began to change. And I began to grow. And I made secondary school valedictorian. I finished university in high honors. I began a PhD program. So when life throws you a lemon, what do? You look at life in the face and you say no, and you go to the market and buy yourself an entire food market. That's what I did. Thank you, Constant Chair.
So now we have 1 minute, please, for the judges. 1 minute. Timer, please let me know once we have elapsed the 1 minute. Thank you, contestant 2. When life throws you lemons, what do you do with them? That's a question for us to ponder on. When life throws you lemons, what do you do? What do you ask of life?